What's up, guys? Throughout the last few lessons, we've been learning how to control the recoil of our guns with the ultimate goal of landing more accurate and consistent shots in Apex Legends. However, managing recoil is only part of the process. The next step in the development of our aim is something equally essential to master: bloom control. Similar to recoil, bloom can disrupt our accuracy when focusing a target. At its core, bloom is nothing more than the random distribution of bullets when firing a weapon. All weapons have some degree of bloom, and as with recoil, it's a natural part of the process of shooting a gun. However, we do want to minimize its effect in order to maximize our accuracy. Let's hop into the firing range to explain just how to do that. Okay, so here we are in the firing range. Now, to demonstrate what bloom actually looks like in practice, I'm going to fire against this wall here. Now, on this left side, I'm only going to ADS. And on the right side, I'm going to hip fire. I'm going to do the same thing with the R99. Now, as you can see, when aiming down sights, your accuracy is almost unaffected, right? The bullets that you're shooting go where you're aiming. But when you're hip firing, there is some element of randomness to your shots where the bullets aren't exactly going right where your crosshair is aiming. Right? It's close, but as you can see, there's some level of randomness affecting those shots. So this is essentially what bloom is. It's that randomness. Now, we want to control that randomness. We don't want to enter into our fights and rely on random sprays to hit our targets. While that might be effective in a last-ditch effort, we want to maintain our consistency throughout fights and be able to be in control of what targets we're hitting and what targets we're not hitting. So, in order to do this, there are a couple things we can do. The first thing, obviously, as we just explained, is aiming down sights. Now, the problem with aiming down sights is that your strafe speed is highly constricted, especially if you're using something like a sniper or a marksman. So we want to minimize the time we're spending aiming down sights while in 1v1 scenarios or close quarters combat, so that way we can maximize our strafe speed, right? But we don't want to lose our accuracy while in hip fire mode and just miss a ton of shots just so we can dodge other shots. So there are things we can do to maintain our fast strafe speed, maintain our movement, while also increasing our accuracy and not having to stay aiming down sights. So, as you can see here, when I go from aiming down sights to releasing to hip fire mode, you can see the crosshairs of my scout going from the center and fanning out wider. Now, these crosshairs are indicators for our bloom. So what the game is trying to tell me is that, hey, after you're pulling out of your ADS mode, there is still some level of accuracy maintained for a split second, and it's decaying over time. So the way we can abuse this in a fight is, instead of just hip firing while our radius is completely fanned out, what we can do is we can mix in quick, subtle ADS movements into our firing so that we can maintain this constricted crosshair pattern. Now, as you can see, I'm getting much more accuracy while doing this, but also I'm not constricting my movement as much because I'm actually not continuously ADSing. So this is a really effective way to control bloom while also maintaining your movement and your mobility. Now, the second way we're going to control our bloom is through crouching. As you can see here, my crosshairs are tightening up once again as I'm crouching. Instead of ADSing, I'm crouching. Now, we don't want to stay crouched while shooting, because that essentially just makes you a sitting duck. So what you want to do in a fight, let's assume here that me and this guy were just fighting, I beamed him with the R9, but I didn't quite finish him off, and I'm switching to my scout to finish him off. I'm not just going to hold crouch mode and fire at him, right? And I don't want to just hold ADS and fire at him. So we're going to mix in little crouches, and we're going to mix in little ADSs, so that we can stay mobile and finish him off while minimizing the damage we're taking back. Okay, so that is essentially how you want to control your bloom, is crouching and quick ADS, right? The mixing of the two. And when you put them together, it looks something like this, and you're maintaining your accuracy. Let's do it with the R9 now. Okay. Now, the thing with Bloom is that it's different based on what weapon you're using. As you can see, the Scout is actually pretty accurate with just straight hip fire, right? Look, that Bloom is actually pretty decent. But other weapons are much less forgiving. For example, the 30-30. Now, as you can see, this gun has a much wider Bloom pattern. It's making it much more difficult to hit this dummy here while hip firing. So with guns like these, it's going to be essential to utilize bloom control to maximize the number of shots you're actually hitting. Even with me utilizing this bloom control, there is still some level of randomness occurring with these shots, and you're not always going to land them. So just keep that in mind, that this is about minimizing our odds of missing. It's not about having perfect aim. And combine these strategies with your recoil control in order to maximize the number of shots you do land. If you found this video helpful, give a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content like this, and see you in the next lesson.